The movie kicks off with a nostalgic flashback to the city of Udaipur, India. Enter Leena Gupta, a no-nonsense girl on a mission to confront Raghu, the boy who's been tailing her for days like an overzealous puppy. When she finally confronts him, he stammers out an apology, clearly terrified of her badass attitude. But instead of accepting his apology, she gets even more enraged. Because who asked him to stop following her in the first place? Raghu's confused headshake says it all, and Leena storms off in a huff. Back in the future, history repeats itself when another girl confronts a boy. Zoe Chauhan, our vibrant and full-of-life protagonist, is livid because Veer Taneja, the boy who rejected her romantic advances, refuses to sleep with her yet still follows her around like a lost puppy. Furious, she storms off. Yes, folks, this is Zoe's idea of a healthy relationship dynamic with her future boyfriend, Veer. Zoe is a vibrant, full-of-life girl. Her day is filled with several activities. She goes to her Zumba class, enjoys it with her girls, and hangs out at a cafe named Mazd. On the other hand, Veer wanders around the city, working on his computer. Enter Raj, the brooding cafe owner who prefers to drown his sorrows in booze and deep thoughts. Clearly, Delhi is full of well-adjusted individuals. From the flashbacks in the past, it is revealed that Raghu has an uncanny resemblance with Veer, and Leena has similar habits as Zoe. Zoe and Veer first met at a bar. She saw him partying with his friends and wasn't able to look away. He catches her staring at him and decides to approach her. The tension between them, the pull towards each other, escalates faster than a reality TV show, and they make out. He drives her to his place, throws her on the bed, and undresses her, his mouth never leaving hers. But before they can take it to the next step, he stops saying that they should not do it. Zoe gets furious, pushes him away, and starts dressing up. He tries to explain it to her, saying that she is not understanding, but she leaves, asking him to screw himself. Not one to take a hint, Veer turns on his computer and starts stalking her online accounts and eventually her in real life. Because who needs boundaries when you have infatuation? Zoe spots Veer a few more times, chalking it up to coincidence and labeling him as weird to her friend Lily, who wisely advises her to be careful of the guy who's one restraining order away from becoming a lifetime movie villain. A few days later, Veer visits Mazd, which is also a co-working space, and gets himself a place. As he settles down, Zoe approaches him and questions why he is following her around. She takes him out for a talk. And this is the scene from the start of the movie, where she confronts him. Raj watches their heated exchange with a knowing smile, clearly entertained by this real-life soap opera. After Zoe storms back inside, Raj checks in on Veer, who responds with silence, prompting Raj to smile even wider. Later, after completing her work, Zoe leaves, and Veer follows her out. Seeing her stress about her Uber driver, who is very late, he offers to drop her off at her location. After dropping her, he tells her that he can have sex with any other girl, but she is a special person, and he has a feeling that she might be the one. Zoe rolls her eyes and leaves, telling him that he just dropped her off to meet her date. Veer, in true romantic hero fashion, parks outside and waits for her. The evening turns into night, but Veer stays consistent. On the other hand, Zoe meets with her date. They have a few drinks, enough to make her slightly drunk. But when her date tries to lean in, she playfully pushes him aside and starts to leave. The man follows her out, and Veer sees them both entering another building hand in hand. Hurt, he gets up to leave. But when he approaches his bike, he finds 3 men around it. The 4 of them get into a fight, resulting in an injury on Veer's forehead. Veer takes a cab to the doctor, and after getting the help, he gets home. But the image of Zoe smiling and enjoying herself with some other men stays in his mind. The next day, Zoe arrives at Mazd, nursing a hangover. Raj, ever the caretaker, offers to make her a hangover cure. He asks her about her date, but she reveals that she didn't go on a date with Veer. Raj is surprised, considering Veer seems to be writing sonnets in his head about her. Zoe, however, is not interested in serious relationships, preferring to explore and enjoy her freedom. She envisions herself as a successful event management mogul in 5 years, only then contemplating a serious relationship. Raj laughs at her response and tells her that Veer is exactly how Raj used to be. He begins telling his story, and we are transported back in time. Turns out that Raj is actually Raghu. Many years from now, he will live in Udaipur. There was a girl, Leena, and one day her beauty caught his eye. On the night of the annual gala at their school, Raghu mustered up enough courage and asked Leena for a dance. Hesitant at first, she eventually agreed, and they spent the night dancing and creating unforgettable memories. And this was the start of their story. After the fateful night, Raghu started following Leena around like a lost puppy. Back in the present, Raj stops his story when Veer arrives, looking like he just lost a battle with a sidewalk. Zoe rushes to assess his injury, and Raj, the eternal matchmaker, smiles knowingly. Veer, channeling peak awkwardness, dives into his work to avoid further embarrassment. After they are left alone, Raj resumes his nostalgic love story. Raghu's love for Leena was increasing with the passage of each day, and he was extremely serious about her. One day, he confesses to his friends that ever since falling in love, he hasn't been able to sleep or breathe properly, and now he would have to do something. Raj's trip down memory lane is cut short when Zoe gets up for an interview at Meta Industries. As she leaves the cafe, cursing the cab driver, who is once again very late, she finds Veer on his bike. He offers to take her destination, and she hops on the bike. At her destination, she sarcastically asks if he's having trouble sleeping or breathing. Honest to a fault, Veer admits his sleep cycle is as messed up as his love life. Impressed by his sincerity and similarity with Raghu's story, Zoe finally gives him her number. Once inside the building, she opens the top button of her blouse and heads straight to the meeting room. The man in charge is not at all impressed by her since she hasn't done one corporate event to date, and the cherry on top is that he saw her opening the button of her blouse via camera. Zoe admits that she did the button thing because when she looks attractive, she feels confident. She tells them that she opened the button for herself, not for others, and if anyone has an issue with that, then that's their problem. Because self-love, right? After the meeting ends, she comes out ranting about why she let her inner self come out in front of the others. Veer, who was waiting for her, responds that she shouldn't conceal who she truly is just for the sake of a job. Instead of feeling good about his words, she screams at him, saying that this job matters a lot to her and the two of them are never going to happen. So, it is better if he stops liking her and goes about his life, because she wants to do something big in her life and not depend on anyone else. Veer, like a love-stricken fool, ignores all her bad comments about him and questions her dream in life. Zoe, misinterpreting his genuine curiosity as mockery, storms off. Later that night, Zoe rants to Raj about Veer and how he is a stupid person. She tells him that 3 times, world-renowned companies offered Veer a job, but he rejected it every time, due to some very stupid reasons. But instead of agreeing with her, Raj says that he wishes to be like Veer. He had the same drive as Veer, but he lost it. We are taken back in time once again to the story of Raghu and Leena. Raghu, deeply in love with Leena, used to look for excuses to meet and talk to her. One day he confesses his feelings in an old abandoned building. Leena cuts him off with a peck on the lips, sending Raghu into orbit. Their tender moment is interrupted by a security guard, leading to a chaotic scene where Raghu punches the guard and gets hauled off to the police station. That day, his father bails him out, and rumors about Raghu and Leena's affair spiral out of control. The gossip mongers even accuse them of having sex and Leena of being pregnant. Instead of supporting her daughter, Leena's mother joins the chorus of blame. Back in the present, after hearing the story, Zoe went back home, but she wasn't able to sleep. Not knowing what to do, she texts Veer to come meet her. They spend the night drinking away their troubles. The next day, Raj once again continues his story of Raghu and Leena. We find out that their friends, playing matchmakers, orchestrate a plan for the two of them to meet. When Leena arrives, Raghu confesses his undying feelings for her, saying that no matter what people say, he will stay with her till the last breath of his life. But before their conversation can proceed, her friend informs her about the arrival of her mom. Raghu tries to make a quick exit, but is spotted by nosy neighbors, and Leena's parents catch them together. Raghu runs away, leaving Leena to face the wrath of her parents. Sensing trouble, her parents decided to send her to Delhi. Raghu was a medical student back then who wanted to become a doctor, just like his father. But when he found out that Leena was leaving for Delhi, he decided to leave medical, his career, for her. The night when she boarded the train for Delhi, Raghu also boarded it with her, embracing her tightly, and forsaking his future as a doctor for love. Raj's life story has a profound impact on Zoe, who starts spending more time with Veer. Her friends and family notice the positive change, but wisely keep their mouths shut. One day, Zoe receives an email of her dreams, an offer to work with a Dubai-based organization, and for that, she would have to move as soon as possible. She is happy, but doesn't share the news with Veer. That night, they end up at the same bar where they first met, and fueled by alcohol, nearly make love. He takes her back to his place, but before they can make love, she starts crying. She rushes out of his room and he follows her out, but she orders him to leave her alone. She slides down next to the wall and, crying, admits that all her life she did all she could to not fall in love. But now she has fallen. He tenderly holds her and says that the moment she feels that he is causing her any trouble, all she would need to do is tell him, and he would leave. Touched by his words, she hugs him tightly. The next morning, when she gets back home, she finds her mom waiting with her sister Sehar. Sehar congratulates her on getting the job, but Zoe reveals that she isn't going to accept the job and wait for a better option. Her mom gets angry and calls Veer the reason that she is rejecting such a big offer. They both get into a fight, and her mom shouts at her for giving up her career for a boy, just like she gave up her career to marry Zoe's dad. Unable to hear anymore, Zoe picks up her bag and leaves, saying that she is going with Veer. Sehar tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen. She takes her stuff and moves in with Veer. He then drops her off at the cafe to talk to Raj and clear up her mind. She barges into Raj's cabin, only to find him with a woman. Thinking that the woman is Lena, Zoe gets too excited and admits her fascination with her, but her excitement fades when she finds that the woman is not Lena, but Farhana. She apologizes for the misunderstanding and quickly leaves. Raj follows her out and apologizes for ruining her fairy tale. Zoe's eyes well up. She confronts him for ruining her life by putting all these ideas about love in her mind, and he himself is with someone else instead of Lena. He calls it the course of life, but she is adamant about knowing what happened that resulted in this. With a broken heart, Raj once again continues his story. After coming to Delhi, he started working in a restaurant. He used to work 16 hours a day, just to make enough money for the two of them. One day, Lena came to meet him at the restaurant, but as he hugged her, another girl caught his eye, a new worker. Later that night, at the end of his shift, that girl approached him and started kissing him. She took him to a room, and he did what he never thought of doing. After sleeping with her that night, a beast was unleashed, and he kept sleeping with a different girl every night. He started feeling that committing with Lena was a mistake, but still never admitted it to her. One day, Lena caught him with another girl, but her eyes were blindfolded by love. She hugged him tightly and said that she knew that he would never betray her. On that day, Raghu made up his mind that he would leave her once and for all. He started avoiding her and created a scenario that forced her to leave him. Zoe is disgusted by his story and asks him to stop. She leaves, saying that she doesn't want to involve herself in his story. She goes back to Veer, and this is when he drops the bombshell that his parents want to meet her over dinner. She goes back to her mom's place to get ready, and surprisingly, instead of scolding her, her mom envelops her in a hug. She wishes her best of luck for the night, but her words from the past haunt Zoe. All the talks about money and career echo in her mind on her way to his parents' house. Upon reaching the location, they stand hand in hand, waiting to enter. But before entering, Zoe tells him about the job she rejected. She bursts at him that she wanted the job so desperately, but she killed her career for him. Not knowing that his mom has come out, she tells him that they both are making a mistake. Veer's mom looks at the scene in front of her, but soon enough Zoe spots her and apologizes for her outburst. She is invited inside the house, and his dad welcomes her with an open heart. She tries to be normal, but her mom's words and Lena's story stay in the back of her mind. She finally breaks down and admits that what she is doing is a compromise. She looks at his parents and confesses that she really wanted to impress them, but messed up everything. She starts crying like a child. Veer tries to calm her but stops when she admits that he has become a problem in her life. In a flashback, it is revealed that Lena left Delhi and went to Mumbai, and Raghu let her go. Just like this, when Zoe got up to leave, Veer wasn't able to stop her. The next day, really early in the morning, Veer visits the cafe and leaves a few things for Zoe. Raj senses that something is wrong and asks Veer. Hesitant at first, he finally reveals that she has left him. Raj is shocked at her foolishness and promises to talk to her, but the ever-understanding Veer stops him, saying that if Raj talks to Zoe, then she will come back to Veer. But this will not happen because of what her heart desires. Hearing this, Raj shakes his head, admitting that Zoe was right about Veer being a fool. Raj tries to convince him, but Veer is adamant about not forcing her into liking him. He hugs him and leaves. On the other hand, Zoe leaves her house for a meeting, with her mom's advice to not miss her chances echoing in her mind. It turns out that she has been once again called at the Meta Industries. It turns out that they have given her the opportunity to organize their event. Excited, she starts working immediately. The day of the event finally arrives, and everything goes smoothly. Even the owner of Meta Industries congratulates her. But when her mom questions if she is happy or not, Zoe has no answer. A few days later, she visits the cafe and meets up with Raj. She confesses to him that when her mom asked if she was happy or not, she realized that she had gone numb with no feelings. Before he can question her any further, she asks him how he became the owner of 4 restaurants and 1 cafe, even though he started from scratch. He tells her that one day, he and his worker were caught having fun at the restaurant. The owner tries to kick them out, but it turns out another restaurant is already offering Raghu more money. He left the job, saying that he would not come back unless a better opportunity arose. A month later, the restaurant owner got back to Raghu with a higher salary, but he didn't accept because a third restaurant was already offering him more money. Delhi turned Raghu into a different person, a street-smart person. He kept moving from one restaurant to another, and one fateful day years later, an investor approached him with an opportunity to open his own restaurant. That day, Raghu perished, and Raj was born. With this new development in his professional life, his personal life also evolved, from one girl to another. As Raj tells his story to Zoe, a girl approaches Veer at his office. She offers to take him for a drink, but he rejects, saying that he is trying to focus on his career, since that is what his ex-girlfriend Zoe wanted. She laughs at this and advises him to move on from Zoe by rebounding with her. Veer laughs, calls her cute, and agrees. She leans in and kisses him on the cheek, but he isn't able to connect with her. She laughs and is okay with it and tries to leave, but he accepts her offer to go for drinks. The two of them go out, not knowing what this will mean for Veer. As he enjoys with his colleagues and having a good time, Zoe sees them. Upon seeing Veer with another girl, Zoe feels a pang of jealousy, not knowing that they went out just as friends. To take revenge, Zoe decides to go out with a random boy she met via a dating app. She goes to restaurants and clubs, and even makes out at the end of the day, but the connection she felt with Veer is absent. She makes it a habit of going out with different boys every time, looking for the spark, but always comes back empty-handed. One day after she gets drunk at a club, her date tries to take her to his place to have sex, but she stops him, saying that she isn't feeling well today, and they will talk about it later. Annoyed at not being able to get laid, he kicks her out of his car. In the middle of the night, Zoe stands on the road, dressed in a sparkling miniskirt, crying. Scared and unable to understand anything, she makes a call to Veer. In a span of a few moments he arrives. He rushes towards her and helps her get onto her bike. Instead of taking advantage of her state, he takes care of her and gets her safely to her place. After settling her in her bed, he tries to leave, but she stops him. She tries to kiss him, but she pulls back, saying that she is drunk and not making decisions from her mind. He tells her that if he wanted a compromised relationship, he would have done it with anyone, but he wants Zoe, as she is. He gets up to leave, and she lets him go. A few days later, she goes to Raj and tells him what happened between the two of them. She calls Veer crazy for looking for magic in a world full of problems. She tells him that the day after the horrific night, she left her house to find Veer waiting for her. He approached her and thanked her for breaking up with him, because after that, he learned a lesson that he was neglecting his own career to be with her. After she left, he focused on himself, and now he has a job he always wanted, a job in the mountains. With a smile on his face, he informs her that he is leaving, and just came to see her one last time. Veer starts his job in the mountains, but his heart is left back with Zoe. He does his work with full passion, and enjoys the locals, but always keeps missing her. On the other hand, Zoe is excelling in her career, but isn't happy. Her friends and family throw a birthday party for her, but the absence of Veer always lingers in the background. One day, as she is asleep at her workspace, the owner of Meta Industries interrupts her. He is shocked to see her in the office on a Saturday night. He inquires why she is at the office instead of partying with her boyfriend. When she confesses that she is single and married to her work, he laughs and advises her to go live her life, because her age is to live and not to sulk. Even after the advice from her boss, she still keeps working late at night. A few days later, she wakes up in the morning to find out that her boss, the owner of Meta Industries, wants to betroth her to his grandson. She is shocked at her mom's excitement because she was the one who told her to stay away from relationships and focus on her career, but her mom tries to convince her by saying that this proposal will change her life. Sighing, Zoe gets up and calls her friend, only for her to agree with Zoe's mom. Not knowing what to do, Zoe goes to see Raj. She is super annoyed at this world and all the problems in her life. She settles down on a sofa and begs him to tell her a story, which will take her away from her own problems. Raj puts everything aside to share his life story with Zoe. He recounts how, after 4 years of separation from Lena, he accidentally called another girl by Lena's name. The girl tolerated it the first few times, but after the 4th slip, she left him. This triggered a downward spiral, where Raj spent every night with a different woman, but his longing for Lena only grew. Despite having no contact with her, he knew she was in Mumbai. He isolated himself, spending 10 minutes every night drinking and missing Lena. One day, a friend of his, Rathor, came back from the USA. Rathor saw Lena's picture in Raj's wallet and told him about her whereabouts. He encouraged Raj to go find her because he was meant to be with Lena. That very moment, he got on a plane to Mumbai. Upon reaching his destination, he found Lena, his daughter, but he wasn't able to tell her what he wanted because Lena was pregnant and happy. That day, he felt like he lost everything. He lost himself. And till this day, he is looking for himself. Tearfully, he implores Zoe not to lose what he lost, but to fight for her love. Overwhelmed, Zoe leaves his office in tears. The scene then switches to Zoe traveling to the mountains to find Veer. After a long journey, she finally reaches him. Crying, she hugs him tightly, confessing that she can't live without him. Veer promises to stay with her until the end of his life. The movie concludes with them sharing a passionate kiss, wrapping up their tumultuous love story with a hopeful and emotional reunion.